Welcome back, everyone. We are continuing our discussions on the loop management in Java. We have seen how we can use break statements to control the flow of our loops in one way or another. Now, let's see one more feature that Java allows us to use in order to help us understand and control the flow of our loops as necessary. To do so, we will not create a new program. We will actually look into the previous program that we created earlier. Now, there is a feature called naming or labeling loops. This is a nested loop. We have outer one, we have inner one. Let's say this is very simple. This is basically simple example. So we don't have too much of a confusion. We don't have a lot of logic in here. We have predetermined starting values, predetermined ending values. So everything is straightforward. When we run this method, we get like a right triangle of stars instead of square of stars, and we just have our main terminating at the end printed so as to show you how the loop flow works. Now, how do we name loops? Let's say this, one way of managing your loops is by giving proper variable names. So you know that this variable, this outer loop has a variable called rows, right? So this is gonna print rows. As many times as this loop iterates, it's gonna create those many rows. And also columns applies for the inner loop, right? So this is one way of controlling understanding the control of the flow of our loops. However, sometimes you might not get variables defined by you or the values defined by you. These might be generalized methods and the values might come from outside. So you might want to get a better control of what's happening. You simply can name your loops by using regular variable naming conventions. This is outer loop. And unlike variables where we assigned it somewhere and close the statement, and unlike methods where we open and closed our parentheses and curly braces, if you name a loop, your name is followed by a column. You see, it was a mistake before. Now it is just a warning that you have a named loop. So this loop here, this outer loop here, is named as this is outer loop. The only reason why we're getting this kind of a warning is because it says this outer loop is never explicitly referenced. So basically our compiler tells us that you have just named your loop successfully, but looks like you have never used it, so do you really want this here? The same way as an outer loop, we can name our inner loop too. We can say, for example, just an inner loop. I'm just trying to demonstrate that you can put any name you would like to. Usually these names are not like this, right? Usually you say outer, inner, or you say rows, columns. It's up to you. Usually these names are very local, so you don't access these names from outside the method, so not even outside the loop, right? These names are going to be accessed only inside the loops, right? And then that's why you keep these names simple. And again, mostly it is used outer, inner. You might have one more inner loop, so that's why you might need to have a better control. I'm not going to dive into that example where you have 3-4 inner loops, and we said that if that's the case, it's a better idea to create separate methods. Now, in this example, we are actually printing out, displaying a right triangle, and this is a regular break statement. This break statement can be followed by the name of the loop. We say break inner, right? But using inner here is redundant because obviously this break statement belongs to the inner loop, and it's going to break inner loop anyways. However, we can do this, break outer. We can stop the outer loop from continuing to run, right? Let's remember one more time what our nested loop here did. it used to it is checking for the value of the rows. So basically it is checking for the number of iteration that this loop is in. So it's the first iteration, the value is 1. Now it's gonna when it also checks in for the number of iteration that the inner loop is in. If the first loop's, the outer loop's iteration number is less than the inner loop's iteration number, it was breaking our inner loop, and that's why creating this right triangle. However, right now we're specifically saying break the outer loop. So in that case, guess what's going to happen? Just pause this video and make a guess, and then come back. Explanation of what's going to happen is the moment rows is less than columns, it is going to break the outer loop and get out of the whole loop structure here, right? It is going to break the whole outer loop. And our print statement, we will only see 1 star displayed followed by main terminating. You want to see run? That's it. 1 star followed by main terminating. So it just happened that the moment this condition became true, the moment we executed this break statement, we executed it followed by the name of an outer loop, and that's why our outer loop just got terminated. That's why only after the first run we terminated our outer loop. Let's do this. Let's change the condition to see what happens. If columns is equal to 5 or 4, actually let's do actually 3, then break the outer. Right now we're going to print out 3 columns, actually 2 columns, column with iteration or 1. Actually, no, this is different. So right now what happens is, since we said columns is equal to 3, we're going to start executing this outer loop, right? Then we're going to start printing our first iteration is going to be executed, inner iteration is going to be executed. It's going to print 1 star, then it's going to print 2nd star, and the 3rd star, it will break the whole loop and it will get out. So run this. This is what you get, just 2 stars. If you want to change this from columns to rows, now we're gonna have actually 2 rows printed out, and the 3rd one is not going to be printed out. You see, 2 rows printed out, 3rd one is not, because when we got to the 3rd row, we said do not print out anything, just break the outer. We can call it anything, test, just to demonstrate you that the name doesn't matter. It will capture the name that you put in here. Run. So it's just doing exactly the same thing. So naming loops is another way that Java provides us in order to manipulate and control our loops. Usually this is done for the ease of understanding, for the ease of flow. You see test, oh, where is the test? Test obviously is the name of something, right? Then let me go find it. Double click on it will actually highlight it for you on the IDE. So this test, this loop is going to be broken. All right, so in the next section, we will see one more command that is specific for loops that will actually give us more control, and then we will proceed with other topics. I will see you in our next video. Thank you very much for your time.